I think one of the biggest risks slash bottlenecks for me with Palantir has always been that scalability. We know that the potential's there, but actually onboarding clients has always been a slower, longer process for Palantir. We've also had to see, or we are watching how they're going from only aiming for very large companies and scaling down to small and medium. Do you think AIP will help push them through that difficult bottleneck they've had? Alex Karp in the Bloomberg interview was saying they'd had more inbound interest in their products in the last 2 weeks than they had all of 2022. So perhaps AIP is actually going to break Palantir through that bottleneck they've been struggling with for a long time.
You see, this connects perfectly with what we just shared. If each FDE is empowered, rather than getting 5 clients per year, they can get 40 clients per year. That automatically unlocks a huge scale. And the very interesting thing of AAP is something Karp mentioned last month. And gradually, by reiterating, by keep listening to Karp, we really understand why AAP is so important. Because when you want to operationalize these models like ChatGPT and so on in your business, so when you want LLM to improve your business, you need something that Palantir has, which is the ontology. If you don't have the ontology, meaning a data infrastructure that clearly reflects all the connections of your business, manages the accesses, the model can't be controlled. And the output is the model provides you wrong answers, or the model goes and gets data that theoretically it shouldn't get. So again, you see how everything they've been working on now matches perfectly with what the general interest wants. So the fact that in order to have an AIP platform that actually unlocks business value, you need an ontology, automatically increase also the demand for Foundry, which is where the big value of Palantir can be unlocked, because basically Palantir Foundry is one product that includes 100 products. So that is where the big value from the commercial standpoint can be. But AAP is what the clients want. AAP is the point of access that make people understand I need this stuff in order to unlock value also in my business. Let me try out. And to try out, basically you get in touch also with your ontology and, oh, Foundry, let's get it. Let's expand.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on a little bit then, when we're considering potential new clients or potential big deals Palantir could have, the $480 million NHS contract is something which we've been talking about for a long time now. Do you still think Palantir is the right company for that job? What do you think the chances are that Palantir will land that contract? And if so, have you got any inclinations as to when that might happen?
Look, when I made one of my first chats on YouTube, Christian, who's from the UK, asked me a question. Hey, do you think that there will be some political friction, or just countries not willing to embrace Palantir because it's a US company and maybe, you know, in Europe, they don't like the idea of a US company managing certain sensitive processes? And my genuine answer was, oh, come on. If you have a truly good product, why should someone don't accept that you have a better product? And obviously I was wrong, because he was more aware that in the UK, especially, people are very proud of the NHS, even if it has its own problems. Every person I spoke with who lives in the UK confirmed that well, the NHS it has some problems, and it is quite unreasonable to think, hey, you have Palantir trying to unlock value, but they get friction. So I see the criticism, and the criticism, I think, derives more from a lack of understanding, from a lot of dogma associated with that. If Palantir was not were not a company involved in anti-terrorism, war, maybe things would have been easier to digest. On the other side, we see again here Palantir trying to do exactly what they have been doing for the entire life of the company. Unlock value. If you unlock value, basically the probability of companies, institutions wanting to deal more with you increase even more. This contract theoretically should have been given 1 year ago, but there were a saga that basically prevented Palantir to get this contract because you can have only one company getting it. The process with which Palantir is supposed to get this contract is unfair. Okay, fine. But what's happening right now is that Palantir has an additional year of work with the NHS, a year of value unlocked. And the beautiful thing of Foundry is that the more you build stuff on it, the more you integrate processes, the more value you unlock, and actually also the harder it is to get away. So even if technically it is absolutely possible that the NHS now says, oh, no, you know what, let's forget about Foundry. The reality is that at this point, after 1 year of cumulated value unlocked, the choice of detaching from Palantir becomes even more irrational because it would cost them a lot of more value, a lot more in terms of cost. So personally, I'm very optimistic about that, despite thinking, okay, that's a contract that I should consider not achieving it. As an investor, I like to be conservative. So even if I'm positive, because for obvious reason, Palantir is my biggest position, I like to see things as if they don't happen. When they happen, I reevaluate the thesis. Very similar to what I did with Ukraine. You know, with Ukraine, Palantir has been unlocking value for 1 year now. Now people are more frustrated because it is emerging that Palantir has been working for free for 1 year. And the Ukraine thing is not something like a small project. You have the entire reputation of the company. You have literally thousands of lives on the line that depend on the software. So it was a very bold move. And there was the risk of this strong move not paying off. So to me, the most important thing that happened in the recent weeks, months, was not AAP, was not some contracts here and there. Ukraine giving Palantir the contract for the reconstruction of Ukraine, that to me was the single most important thing that basically validated the idea of Ukraine has been using Palantir for 1 year now. They are so happy that when the war will end, they already think we want to go overdose with Palantir. That to me is a sign that even if that impacted negatively the numbers, the opportunity in Ukraine is huge because Ukraine wants to deal more with Palantir.